this evening and hearing my story. Just before I start, I want to talk about stories. You know, all of us have stories in our lives. We are all a story ourselves. And when we grow up listening to stories. It could be from our family, it could be from neighbors, but everything is a story. So I'm going to share my story with you. So this is what I do believe, that 4 wheels move the body and 2 wheels move the soul. So I'm going to start with telling you a story about the file. It's a regular nail file. Okay? That's the file. It's a real nail file. So the story goes like this, that there was a man on a motorcycle on a desolate desert road in Iran, and his motorcycle breaks down. So he gets off the motorcycle and he sits down he's looking at the engine, trying to see what could have gone wrong and why the motorcycle has broken down. And as he's trying to figure this out, on the other side of the motorcycle, he sees a pair of legs. So he looks up and there's an old man standing on the other side, and he's leaning over and asking this man what the problem is. And of course, the language is not known, so the gentleman who's sitting down, the motorcycle rider, looks up and kind of in sign language says, it's not working. So he leans down and he points to the front of the engine and says, check, kind of points to it. So he opens that part of the engine up and he realizes that there's carbon deposits on the points, and the motorcycle has stopped because of that. And so this gentleman standing there gives this nail file to that motorcycle rider, and he cleans the points and the bike starts up. And he returns the file, but the old man tells him to keep the file. So he keeps it and he has nothing to give in return, but just says thank you, and he gets on the motorcycle and he takes off. And when he takes off, he looks in the rear view mirror and there's nobody there. Okay, so, and that person is my dad. Okay, so this was one of the stories I grew up with about this nail file and this experience of travel and connection and mystery all rolled into one. So that's my dad. That's when he came back from Germany. He actually rode back from Germany to India on this motorcycle, which is a BMW 250, and he had on the side boxes, it's written the Wandering Kurd, have girl, will travel, Honolulu to India or bust. That's what he had there, and he came back via Turkey, Iran, Pakistan and India. This is in 1965. So ever since then, I've been on a motorcycle because that's all I knew. So as I said, we were the biker breed. So that's my mom and dad, and that's my brother and me. So this is my family, and we were always on a motorcycle. So for me, a motorcycle was just part of the family. It was nothing unusual to have a motorcycle. Then of course, I grew up, and college, job, marriage, motherhood, but the motorcycle never left me because it was just always a part of my life. So I used to do short rides, hoping that's my son in the red t-shirt, hoping that I would, instill the joy of motorcycling into my son. And so we used to do short rides into the countryside on Sunday mornings. And then that grew into my first big ride, which was in 2007. There were 3 girls and a guy, and 4 of us went to Bhutan. So my route was from Siliguri. We went through the entire country of Bhutan and we exited in Assam, into Guwahati. And Bhutan for me was my first love, and every journey that I take or every experience that I have teaches us so much. And travel, of course, is the greatest teacher because you're always encountering the unexpected. So one of the lessons I learned from Bhutan was less is more. The people, of course, Bhutan is their wealth is measured by happiness. It's GDH, gross domestic happiness. So the people there are very simple. They have, when we went, there were no TVs, there were no ATMs, there was no credit card. This is Punakha Zone. And there was nothing that was like in our world that we have as security, like a credit card. There wasn't. So you had to live for the moment. We had to carry cash, and only like 100 rupee notes and 500 rupee notes. They didn't take bigger notes than that. So we had no place to lock our stuff, and yet it just taught us that we just take. We believe that we have to lock everything and everything has to be safe and secure, but if you just believe and trust, nothing really goes wrong. So these were some of the experiences and of course roadblocks. So can you see the rock over there? Right in the center of the road, that's the size of the rock. Can you see people are standing on top of the rock? So that rock had fallen in the morning. This was like about 6 o'clock in the evening. That rock had fallen and blocked that road through the day. And so the traffic had piled up on either side of the rock. And this was our last day in Bhutan. We had to get out. We have a permit, and if you overstay your permit, you're put in jail. So we had to leave, but we were stuck because of this roadblock. They had been blasting the rock the whole day, but they couldn't move it. So we actually decided to turn around because we... that's the rock. That's the rock. If you didn't get it. Yeah. So we decided to turn around, and as we were leaving, the lorry drivers, the bus cleaners, all the workers who were stranded saw us turning around, came to us and said, you all are visitors in our country. We can't let you go back. You have to only go forward. So they carried our bikes. Actually, carried our bikes. If you see, this is the edge of the road. Can you see the? And if you fall, the mountains are really steep. If they had slipped, bike and us and everyone would have gone down. But this is, something that really fascinates when people go out of their way to help. And they carried our bikes and took it across. Okay, from the land of happiness, for me, I went to Cambodia. My next ride was in Cambodia. For me, Cambodia was a land of sadness, and I'll tell you why. So this was, of course, another lesson to be learned. This was the first time I was riding a dirt bike. So dirt bike is riding off the tarmac, not riding on the main road, riding in gravel, on riding trails into the forest, and riding. This is like we'd come up into a mountain where there was no road. But these bikes are just fabulous. And we found, of course, because you're on a motorcycle, we could go to places which cars can't go to. And that meant we could go into villages. We could go off-roading because these bikes would take us everywhere. And we found this secret beach where there was a little fishing village, and we just stumbled upon. And the kids in that village were completely fascinated because they'd never seen a motorcycle. And of course, the ruins of Ta Prohm, the famous Angkor Wat temples, and of course, the killing fields of Phnom Penh. These continue the ruins of all the temples. And yeah, this is where I learned, the new thing I learned here was dirt biking, which is, of course, I say that we tried to avoid that. We were told not to go to many places because there were still live landmines. I'm still here, so. And yeah, the Cambodia left a mark in the sense that when we met the people of Cambodia, we went off the main, like we didn't go to Siem Reap or Phnom Penh, which was the main towns. We went into villages, and in the villages we met the real people of Cambodia, the people who are farmers who grow paddy, and that's all their life is. But there was so much of sadness in their eyes. So that was something that, really took me, left a mark on my, it left an impression. So, and this now, the next place. So of course this is not the Himalayas. And since we are also studying the Mahabharata, this place is actually Ella. It's in Sri Lanka. And this over here, this little hill on the right, is where Ravana, there's a cave here. When Ravana came to India and took Sita away, this is the cave where he took her and kept her before he took her to his palace. And this place is Ella. So from this hill, that is the Indian Ocean. So on a clear day, we could see the ocean. It's kind of central Sri Lanka. Then of course, because we went riding into the forest and we found this in Yala National Park, there is a beach right in the middle of the game reserve. And of course that's me. And this is another dirt bike because we did dirt riding there also. This is a Yamaha Cero. So we did, of course, a motorcycle wakes my soul, not the Sera Maharama. That's me, okay, going into the water. So that's just a glimpse of what dirt biking is all about. So you go into the forest and there's, there are streams and there are rocks and it goes, those bikes are fabulous, they just go anywhere. Okay, and then of course now my encounter with the Almighty, which is, the greatest place on earth is the Himalayas. And why do I love the Himalayas? It's just because of its, can you see that's a full-blown lorry, which occupies our highways and doesn't let us overtake. And here it's just dwarfed against the mountains. So, of course, the Himalayas completely humbled me. Again, this is in Kaza in the Spiti Valley. This is Suraj Tal. Yeah, it's really beautiful. This was in 2010. But when I go, every year I go back and every year the water recedes and the color of the water has changed. And now, the last year when I went, it's just a little pond and it's green in color. And there is no snow. It's just like rocks. The mountains are just rocks. It's really sad to see. This is Rohtang Pass. So of course the mountains never cease to amaze, the mountains never cease to surprise. So these are the roads that we have to ride on. So underneath this slush, it looks like all smooth and slushy and cool to ride on, but there'll be big rocks, so you go and you get stuck and you have to, there's a breakdown there, can you see? So, there are breakdowns, there are everything unexpected, everything that happens is, you can never imagine it could happen. So that's why I love riding, because it's every time you're learning something new. If you see this is the Spiti Valley again, and that's the key monastery. Just, it's a big monastery on top of that hill, if you can see. And that's, of course, the Indus River. And I was in for a surprise, I say, because soon after this, I slipped and fell in a riverbed and I broke my knee. And so you can never say what is going to happen in the mountains. But of course that never stopped me from going back. I've gone back every year since then. So no maps, no movies, no books prepared me for the Himalayas. And that's what I say, the strength of its might shelters the frailties of humans. A lesson that is beyond a lifetime.